Do you want to learn HTML but don't know where to begin? In this video, we're going to go from nothing to creating a basic HTML web page. Stick around. So what exactly is HTML? HTML is hypertext markup language. So that begs the question then, what's hypertext? Hypertext is just text that can reference other text, so text with links basically. Markup is just some extra information to describe the content in a text file, such as this bit of content is a paragraph, this bit of content is supposed to be bolded text, this other bit of content is supposed to be a link. At its core, HTML is nothing more than a text file, plain text, with some extra information in that file in the form of tags. To make this really clear, what I'm going to do is capture my screen. I'm going to make a basic web page. You guys can follow along and you'll see just how simple all this really is. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is open my text editor. I'm going to be using Notepad++ for this. You guys can use whichever text editor you like. I'm going to link to Notepad++ in the description. Right, so I'm going to save an empty HTML document just so we can go step by step and see exactly what's going on here. I'm going to call this webpage.html. First thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to look at this in a browser. So I'm going to open up Chrome, going to paste it in. We get our empty blank document, which is exactly what I was expecting. Put this to one side, put that to the other side, and let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is the simplest thing I can possibly think to do is just to put some text there. Hello world. I'm going to refresh the browser, and there we go. Hello world. So that's outputting plain text to the browser. What about all that hypertext and markup and all that stuff? I'm going to show you an example of markup right now. So let's say that I want, below my hello world, I want to leave a little bit of space, and I want to say goodbye world. Let's refresh the page. So what has happened is the browser doesn't actually respect white space. It'll give me one space, and then as many new lines as I press, as many spaces, as many tabs, none of that is respected. I still end up with this. That's because it's not just plain text. We're talking about a HTML document. So in HTML, the way we mark this up is we're going to be using something called tags. I'm going to use a P tag for paragraph, put this bit of text inside a P tag, which I'll explain further in a minute. Save that, refresh this page, and now we see that text move down to where I'd like it to be. So the separate paragraph. So let's talk about tags for a minute. Tags come in pairs. You have an opening tag, in this case an opening paragraph, and a closing tag, and your content goes in the middle. The tag itself is a left angle bracket, the tag name, and then a right angle bracket. Now the closing tag is the same as the opening tag, apart from we have this /. Something you should know about tags is that they can be nested. Now what I mean by that is I can put tags inside other tags. Let's say I wanted to bold the word in. I'm going to do that with the strong tag. I'm going to open the tag, in's there. I'm going to close with the /, close this tag, and then refresh the page, and we see that in has become bold and the rest is as it was. We can also use an italic tag, and we get a similar result. As we can see, we can nest tags. Another thing to note about tags and nesting them, nesting can and often does go many levels deep. You can have tags within tags within tags. For example, if I take this italic tag off that word middle and I put it inside the strong tag, what's going to happen is I'm going to get strong and italic text. A further example, I'm going to wrap this whole P tag in a div tag. We use a div tag to divide a HTML document up into divisions or sections. I can have as many of them on a document as I like. I can nest them. I can put divs inside other divs, and I can put as many other tags within that div as I like. I'm going to indent this using a tab to make it clear what's going on here. And then I'm going to have a header tag, h1. That's the largest heading. And inside that header tag, I'm going to write a header. This is my heading. Save that, refresh the page, and there we go. Let's zoom it out a little bit so we can see what's going on. Okay, just to be clear about the p tags, if I wanted to add more paragraphs, I could simply use more p tags. Do a second paragraph and a third. Save that, refresh, and you see your paragraphs there. Okay, so we've got text, we've got markup in the form of tags. What about this hypertext thing, the linking? That seems to be a really important thing in the web, the fact that you can link from one page to another. Well, we're going to use the A tag or anchor tag to link one page to another. So in this case, I'm going to link to Google. So let's see how that looks. Not a proper link. Another concept I need to introduce to you guys. Tags, as well as having the name, in this case A or anchor, tags can also have attributes in the form of name equals value. So we're going to use the href attribute on this A tag to point this link to Google. Save that, refresh the page, and now we see, and yes, of course, it's gone purple because I have already visited Google. I can use it like any other link. I can right click it, open in a new tab, or I can just click it, go to Google. Let's go back. The next thing that I'd like to show you guys is how to add images into your pages. So I went ahead and found a picture of Tim Berners-Lee on the internet. I'm going to copy this link and then go back to my text editor. I'm going to introduce you guys the image tag. And I'm going to put the source. Again, note I'm using an attribute here, just like the href attribute. Other tags have attributes as well. The source is going to be this picture. Okay, save that. Refresh this page. And there we go. Hello, Tim. What if I want to have a bit more space between this A tag, the link, and that image? One way to do it would be to use a line break. I'm going to put a couple of line breaks. That would be equivalent of me pressing return, return, return in a text file. So 3 line breaks. And we move the image down a bit. Each line break I add, move it down a bit further. Now some of you guys may remember what I said earlier about tags coming in pairs. When you open a tag, you should close a tag. The last couple of tags that I used, the BR tag and the image tag, didn't really close them. The image tag, I added the closing slash to the opening tag. You can do that, it's optional. It's still perfectly valid without that slash. The reason for this is that there are a group of tags known as empty elements. Because they don't contain any content, you can omit the closing tag. They exist for structural purposes only, to tell the browser, that there's going to be a line break, or there's going to be an image in the page, something of that nature. Another really useful tag is the title tag. This is going to affect what we see up here at the top of this tab. See how it currently says webpage.html. I'm going to change that to text of my choosing. So, title, at the top of the document. And this title, I'm going to call it My First Web Page. Save that and refresh the page. And as we can see, we've got the title. Now you guys know a bit about HTML. You know what tags are. You know how to link one document to another. You know how to put images in your documents. You know how to put paragraphs, headings. You know how to set the title. It's time to tell you guys about doc types. A doc type tells the browser the version of HTML that we're using. There are a few versions of HTML, and different browsers will make different assumptions about your web page if you don't include a doc type. That means it may or may not render correctly. Now, a modern browser rendering some simple markup, like the markup I've just typed out here, it will probably render just fine. However, you never know. And it's always good practice to include a doc type. Now, this doc type is going to tell this browser that this is HTML5 and to render it as such. It doesn't make a blind bit of difference to Chrome with this bit of markup, but it's a good practice to always include a doc type. The last thing that I want to tell you guys about is boilerplate. Well, what is boilerplate? What am I talking about? If we come into Chrome, right click the document and hit inspect, let me make this big for a minute. We're going to see more. This is supposed to be the HTML elements that we have added to the page. However, there looks to be a few other things here that we did not add. We added this div, we added the heading, the links, the line breaks, the image, but we did not add this body tag. What's that? This head tag. Oh, there's our title, and this HTML tag. These other tags that the browser has added for us are the boilerplate, the HTML, the head, and the body tag. If we go back to our text document, we can add them in ourselves. So below the doc type, which always has to come first, we're going to add a HTML tag, and that HTML tag is going to wrap the whole document. You get one of them on a page, and it wraps everything. Next, we're going to put our head tag. Head contains the title. It can also contain links to other scripts and style sheets that we might want to use. I'll be covering that stuff in a later video. For now, we'll just keep the title in there. Then, the content of the page, all of this stuff here, will go into the body tag. If we don't add one, the browser will add it for us. Now, we have our first page, including boilerplate, links, images, and a heading. Let's save it and have a look. So adding the boilerplate made no difference. We're able to get fairly far without it. We're able to set the title, we're able to write some HTML without using the boilerplate. The question you might have is, should we even use the boilerplate? Should we bother with it? I would say yes, you do need to include the boilerplate. The reason being is you don't know what browser people are going to be using to view your page. Some browsers may not handle the fact that you've omitted the boilerplate. Okay, so we've got our simple HTML page. We've got a title, a heading, we've got a paragraph, a link, an image, some line breaks. We've got the boilerplate there all explained, so you guys know what's going on with that. Now you might be wondering at this point, how on earth do I make this thing look decent? What do I do to change the font? How do I change the size of the heading? How do I change the color of the links? How do I change the background color? That kind of thing. In HTML, that is not actually possible. The purpose of HTML is not to make a document look a certain way. It's to simply give structure to the text, to the content. So the browser knows that this is a heading, or another piece of text is a paragraph, or a piece of text is a link, or I want to display an image. The technology that we use to change the look and feel of a page is called CSS. Now I'm going to go into much more detail in CSS on another video, but I will give you guys kind of a head start. I'll show you some basic, very basic, what they call inline CSS right now. So on this H1 tag, I'm going to use the style attribute. I'm going to say style equals, and inside these speech marks, I'm going to give name value pairs of attributes. So I'm going to go color, red, font size, let's give it 50 points. Let's save that. Show you guys how that looks. And there you have it. You could use this on, say, an image. Let's say we wanted to make that image a bit smaller. We could say width, I don't know, let's give it 100 pixels. It's going to distort the image completely, but just for the sake of showing you guys how it works, we can give it width and a, oops, almost forgot to put the name, height, 100 pixels, refresh that, and we get a weird, small, distorted image. But you guys get the idea. You can use the style attribute on whichever tag you want to change the look and feel of. All that does is apply some inline CSS. As I say, we're going to go into more depth in CSS in another video. Okay guys, that's it. That is the end of the video. What I encourage you to do next would be to, say, visit W3 Schools and have a look at their HTML tags reference. Get a feel of how many tags there are, what they do. Ones that I've shown you in this video are some of the elementary basic tags. I'm going to be making more videos where we'll go into different tags, we'll go into CSS, we'll go into making really nice looking web pages, we'll go into all of that. But for now, thanks for watching the video. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the like button, subscribe. Any questions, leave it in the comment section down below. Alright, thanks for watching then guys. Bye bye.